Here's a list for you. Jay-Z, Robert Kennedy, and Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, they may seem to have very little in common, but as KCRA 3's Dave Manicherry tells us, they all share one honor. They've all been entered into the Library of Congress.
If you grew up between 1973 and 1996, you learned a lot from Saturday morning television.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill.
Schoolhouse Rock, along with 24 other recordings, will now be a permanent part of the Library of Congress Recordings Archive. Every year they add more, and 2019 selections are a wide swath spanning more than 100 years. You may not remember the film of the same name, but Curtis Mayfield's soundtrack to the movie Superfly, well, that's in there. As is the earworm Earth, Wind and Fire's September. And the musical Hair. And speaking of earworms, maybe one of the first ones from the 1930s, Cab Calloway, a jazz vocalist and band leader, made it in for his hit Minnie the Moocher, with a call and response that got its own callback in the movie The Blues Brothers. As did the Stax Records soul group Sam and Dave.
Martin Luther King dedicated his life.
An extemporaneous speech by Robert Kennedy is on the list too, where he announces the death of Martin Luther King Jr. to an Indianapolis crowd. And the newest recording in the collection this year, Jay-Z's 2001 album, The Blueprint. 25 recordings added to the archive for posterity. Dave Manicherry, KCRA 3 News.
A little bit of a
good
trip,
ones.
Yeah, trip in the Wayback Machine there. Each year, the Library of Congress selects recordings for the registry that are culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant and are at least 10 years old, and that's just a sampling of what was entered into the archive. You can actually see the full list if you want to on our KCRA 3 app or KCRA.com. And I'm definitely old enough to remember Schoolhouse Rock.
All of them.
Right?
All of them. I'll be singing them. You and I both will all night tonight. All right, let's check in with Mark and a look at our weather out.